Consulting focuses on integrating ISO 9001 into business management frameworks with a dedicated emphasis on South African business innovation and development. Additionally, he serves as a managing board member at BISA, underscoring his commitment to business revival and growth within the broader business community. Andreas's journey in the business began at the age of 5, contributing to his family's grocer cafe. Over the years, he navigated through the Spur franchisee starting in 1989 and subsequently played pivotal roles in the family business, spanning a diverse array of brands and hotels. In 2010, Andreas ventured into a new realm of immersing himself in health and safety at A&R Investments. This transformative experience laid the foundation for establishment of SheQ4 SME in 2018 and the subsequent addition of Andreas Burger Consulting in 2022 in alignment with his visionary approach to business development. Academically, Andreas is a well rounded professional with credentials from esteemed institutions. He holds management essentials from Harvard Business School, project management expertise from Stellenbosch University, and a safety and environment diploma from NIBOSH. Additionally, he possesses a diploma from Rahima Bible College, reflecting his diverse interest and steadfast commitment to continuous learning. Beyond the boardroom, Andreas is a passionate reader and cyclist, finding balance and inspiration in these pursuits amid the demands of his dynamic business life. At the core of Andreas's mission is a resolute commitment to supporting and developing businesses in South Africa, extending a lifeline to companies in need. His approach transcends mere business growth. It's about making a meaningful impact on South Africa's economic landscape. Join us for an engaging session as Andreas imparts his valuable insights into the session, drawing from wealth of experience and visionary leadership, of which I can personally vouch for. Over to you, Andreas. All the very best for the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the introduction. For all those who are here, thank you for being here. I know it's a new year, so I really appreciate it. I hope that I can add to everybody a little bit and help them also just to succeed. Before we start, I just need to explain something. If I don't look always in the camera, I'm used to, this is my workstation and this is my reading station. So it's very simple. The presentation this side, and then from this side, I'll have a chat with everybody. But again, thank you for everybody being here. So I don't want to waste time. So if you don't mind, let's start and see if we can get this right.
Yes, please.
Is my screen for everybody to be seen?
Yes, it's visible.
All right. Like she said, my name is Andreas Burger. It's not that I had a choice in starting in business early. My entire family has businesses. So I had to learn to work on the tills before I could even write. So I learned how to count before writing. So it's not that I'm better than anybody else. It's just that I grew up in a family that believed that kids should work. Right now, my son is working in about 7 containers, packing stuff right in an overall, and he's 14 years old. And yes, he wants to be there because he's decided, thank God, to play golf rather than rugby. So he's taking that money to buy himself some better golf. He says, I didn't buy him good enough stuff. He's buying his own. I'm fine with that. So we're talking today of doing the undoable. We're all facing quite a bit of problems most of the time. So this is just to give you an overview of, or the understanding that it's possible to overcome, even when things are almost seems too dark. I think the best way to start is explain in front of you. 3 years ago, I landed in hospital. I had a Delta variant of COVID. And as the doctors came to me, they said that 85% of my lung capacity was destroyed. My oxygen level was on 42. And I've got a liver toxicity of 895. Now, let me explain, because I had to go and learn this just like everybody else. I had to go find out what it means. Apparently, according to the doctor that stood in front of me, your toxicity in your body is supposed to be 5%. 395, you in critical condition, 895. Basically, well, you're not there supposed to be anymore. When your oxygen dropped to under 55, mine was on 42. They tell you that, well, all your organs basically fail, and they can't help you. And with 85% of your lungs not operating, you basically already, well, one of them dead. I know it sounds very strange, but I was sitting in a wheelchair in an emergency room, and this small doctor, and I'm 6'6", so the small doctor walks up, and I look at him, and he starts explaining all this to me. And all I can remember is that years ago there was a movie called Buck Rogers, and this guy looked like Tweety, like the way he stands, the size. It looked to me right. That's all I can figure. This guy looked like Tweety to me. And the second thought came and said, "Man, you're old. You're over your expiry date. I'm not going to really listen to you." Then the second doctor came and he was complaining about my lungs and complaining about my oxygen level and how long I've been like this. And how was I know? I just been brought into the hospital. So they didn't want to take me up. According to them, it's a waste of time. But they made just one small mistake. My wife, she's a little bit of a problem child. She's tenacious. So she took the main doctor, his name is Dr. Mentor, to the side, and she started explaining to him that it's not going to work. You must just take me in. I will do the rest. And she explained to him, number one, I'm a born-again Christian, and I've been, I live on faith, so it's not a problem. I must deal with this. And number two, Andreas was training for Ironman, and sometimes when you run out of stuff on the road, you're like 120, 130 kilos from out on a bicycle, and you run out of honey, and you run maybe of water, and you start getting a little bit dizzy and stuff like that. And you phone your wife and say, "Listen, I'm going to send you a drop point. I'm somewhere here. You need to bring something for me just to eat because all I see is white." It's happened quite a few times. So my whole entire bakkie, or one of my vehicles is set up just for that, so she would come and fetch me, and everything's in the back of the vehicle. So explained to the doctor, it's not a problem. The doctor said, "But here's his lungs." And said, "What are those two black spots?" "No, that's the lungs, that's over." He said, "I've seen that before." Doctor said, "Where have you seen it before?" So now, one morning, 9 o'clock, the hospital phoned me because they didn't know where my husband was, and he was already in hospital, and it took them 3 hours to clean his lungs up because he had pneumonia. And they didn't understand how I got to the hospital, didn't understand how I walked in. She said, "So he's used to this. He can deal with this." So yeah, they lost that battle very, very badly to my wife, and I had medical. So they took me in, and for 23 days I battled, and eventually I did get out of hospital. I can tell you that the day I got out, they told me straight. I was the first guy to come out. Everybody else around, I think I lost count of 23 people just in my ward that didn't make it. It was a little bit of quite an issue. I remember just when I booked in, there was one guy with me that came in as well. And on day 11, they keep on moving us down the ward because as people disappearing, we were so me and him were in the bottom. And on day 11, the nurse was still talking to his wife on the phone, and I just looked at him and it was gone. So that left me with nobody left basically in the hospital. So my faith carried me through to the end, and for that I'm extremely grateful. But the consequences of my 23 days in hospital was that when I was in hospital, I think it was day 3 or 4, they phoned me because I was supposed to be at my graduation, my MBA. So I just looked at them with this thing on my face. So they were a little upset with me because I didn't phone them. So yeah, I didn't attend my own graduation, my MBA, and I had to phone the doctors at you say, and explain to them, "Look, I've got a little bit of a problem. I don't think I can do my doctorate on this stage in time. I quickly realized that my reading speed was no longer available. I fell from 800 words, I think, to about 200 words a minute for my reading. Focus was not part of the equation. I just couldn't focus. There's this thing in your mind and your brain that I can't explain. I call it brain fog. Your brain just can't focus. It was extremely hard. Where I could work and focus for about 8-9 hours nonstop, take a break, and then go back and work 18 hours a day without issues. I couldn't even make 2. It just wasn't nice. So like I said, I had to stop my doctorate. I dropped from 142 to 108 kilos. I had no energy. And I was running my own businesses. And that stage, when you go to the hospital 23 days, you don't work. No work, no pay in my case. And I found out with a bang that I had dyslexia that I'd never had before. I would write a sentence, and when I finished writing the sentence, I looked back and thought, what on earth did I write? The whole screen was just red for all the mistakes in it. And I usually can't spell, but now I had 0 chance of spelling. And I looked at it and I thought, what did I just put on the screen? So that was a little bit of an issue. And I went into a little bit of a panic mode, because everything that I do is to do with my mind, and ability to work long hours, and ability to think clearly. So yeah, I had to cancel my doctorate, and the guys that side was, well, good enough, and they understood, and they gave me the opportunity to not to stop for the time being. So I had a few problems that I had to face in that stage. I had a wife and 2 kids I had to look after. My children were still in the lower grades. My cash flow were gone. 23 days, and then a little bit longer, I couldn't work. So my cash flow was seriously getting into the lower areas, and I knew that I was going to run out of cash flow in 2 or 3 months if I don't make a plan. So my business was in the brink of destruction. I had to contact each one of my clients and say, listen, this is what happened. Please give me a little bit of time and I'll come back. Yes, I did lose some clients, but there's nothing I could do about it. People leave. Most of them actually came back later, but then I charged them all. Since I had an MBA now, they left me when I was hot, so I doubled their fees. They paid it. So that was the problem that I faced on that stage in time. And then I had to deal with diabetics. I don't know. I couldn't understand where it came from. I was later explained because of the shock to my body. That was what happened. And I also think that I lost a lot of my muscle and definition of my body. So it didn't use the amount of sugar most probably it's supposed to, or glucose, and that caused a little bit of a problem for me. I still got that. I'm still dealing with it. I will beat that thing eventually. I had to change the way that I eat. And I think if I go to over 100 kilometers a day on my bicycle, that will disappear, because I can't see that so sugar can stay in my system if I get that right. And I'm getting close. So yeah, I was sitting with the issue there, and I had to decide, what is it I'm going to do? Because I've got my back to the wall. I'm struggling to focus. So what do I do? The only way to deal with it, there's a movie that came out a while ago, I think it's The Astronaut, where the guy was stuck in Mars. And right in the end, he says the best way of dealing with things is to deal with one thing at a time. And he's absolutely correct. You can't multitask this. If you have too many things in front of you, it's just not possible. You need to focus on one, finish it, then go to the next one. So I had to prioritize. What is the problem? We're in a scale from 1 to 25, 25 being a massive red problem. 1 I can deal with a little bit later. Where the scale is this problem, and how am I going to address it? So I figured the first thing I need to do is get my businesses back online and find solutions for problems. And to get my business back online, I knew that I'd get out there. So that was the first solution, just get back into the work. So I found solution problems. I find that they were better than what I did before. So I told you that my writing sucked. My spelling was non-existent. So one day I was sitting and I thought myself, how on earth am I going to solve this? And I looked at Windows and I saw dictate. I thought, well, let's try dictate. It took a while, but then I came to the conclusion that dictate is much faster than my 2-finger typing at a time. And all I have to do is go fix a few things while I dictate, and I got a few other programs that make sure that my spelling is up, and eventually I see Windows brought editor. So that took that whole thing away, and I'm still doing that. Most of my dyslexia has been solved, but my spelling still sucks. But most of that has been sorted by just dictating. It's amazing how much faster I can do things when I dictate them. So the advantage of dictate, you dictate it, you go back and you read through, so you actually start remembering what you've written, and it helped quite a bit. So that was a problem solved to the advantage. Like I said, my reading went down to about 200 words per minute, and I brought that up eventually, slowly. But I found that my cell phone, if I put certain programs on and I bought other programs, that they can actually, if I put something in PDF and then put it on the cell phone, it can actually reach me. So that became a massive advantage, because what now happens, because I travel quite a bit now, I just put my cell phone on, Bluetooth it into my car radio, and I can listen to teachings and listen to read papers. And sometimes what I do is the own things that I've written, I put it on there so I can listen to what I write and then make mental notes on the road where I have to change them. So yes, there was disadvantages, but with this disadvantages, a lot of opportunities start coming open, and this to the technological advantages was massive for me. That it helped me quite a bit. And even with that, when I do my writing, that's even so far my doctorate, I use dictation. I dictate, even sometimes in a car, dictate on my phone, and when I get home, I just put it over to my computer. So yes, there was disadvantages, but like I said, finding solutions one by one, and then find that the solution is actually better than what I had before. I also start figuring out that it took me about a year. The way to fix my body and mind is that I have to work together with my spirit. And the spirit's the key to push this thing forward. And my faith and belief is to get these things right. If your mind is not what it's supposed to be, and your mind is not focused, and your mind is not focusing on what you can do. Again, I'm a little bit diverging here, but there's a lot of things that you can do, and there's a lot of things you can't do. There's things that you have zero control over. So if I got no control over it, I keep an eye on it, but there's nothing I can do about it. I need to work around it or bypass it. There's things that we have limited control over, and those things we try to do, and there's things we got control over. And the biggest thing that I've got control over is me. Body, soul, and spirit, or spirit, soul, and body. This is what I've got control over. So I started with me, fixing my body by focusing my mind and making sure that my spirit is in control of this whole thing. I learned that's why I go back to diabetes. I learned how to eat some things, and I learned how to train in my thoughts and words and actions. Learned that all that has to be in union. Is it always happening? No. Do I make mistakes? Plenty. I'm also human, but sometimes I fell off the bicycle and I have to get back on the bicycle, literally and figuratively. And you just have to go on. Like I said, things change around us. You look at it and you know, but that's just stupid. But you have to deal with it. Like I said, it wasn't easy. But the other side of the coin, I didn't have much of a choice. I've got 2 children that absolutely adore me and love me and think that I am almost as good as sliced white bread. So, I'm a little bit vain. I like the thing that I make my children's hero. So it gets you up in the morning at 4:30, and it gets you out the house at about 5:15. And slowly but surely, as I start changing the way that I eat and start changing, the only thing that I didn't change is my coffee. That's the only thing that I kept. The rest of the stuff I really I had to take sugar out of it, which was not very nice. But slowly but surely, as you focus and as you start getting your body ready, and you start getting your mind ready, and your spirit takes a hold of this, and you hold it, your body is coming right. It's not where it's supposed to be. But I went to a medical in November, And they said to me, there's scars in your lungs, but your lungs is operating at 99%. I said, no, that's just COVID. Don't worry about it. My kidneys, livers, everything went through the tests. Also last year, and everything came up perfect. It's all operating normally. Exactly opposite what a doctor said to me when I booked in. So it took time. And we have also found, quite frankly, that the healthier the food is, the more it costs. So I had a vegetable garden in the back. It's working as well. Right. Back to my doctorate program. I contacted Dr. Sheen. I said, look, Doc, I'm starting to get better. My reading speed is up. My focus is up. My business is getting on their feet. I've changed my focus a little bit from health and safety and environment into business development. And I need to get back in the program because there's massive advantages running this. And we'll get to that as a whole and explain to you that my focus is going to be solely on South Africa. I needed to focus on the country that I'm in. I need to focus on helping South Africa. In my studies, when I did my MBA, I had to write, I think it was a risk analysis of South Africa on one of my assignments. And I still today apologize for whoever read that, because that was a very dark paper. Because I had to face the reality of what is happening around me. And like I said, there's some stuff you can't change, and you have to focus on what you can change. With PASTEL and risk assessment in the future South Africa, things didn't look too good and looked extremely bleak. So I had two options. One option is I can decide to leave South Africa and go and work overseas. That is an option. And a lot of people take that option or just immigrate completely out of the country. And the second option is find solutions. So I'm hard-headed and I decided, nah, I'm going to find solutions. But before I could find a solution, the first thing is I had to define what the problems is. And when I did my MBA, a lot of problems came up. My predictions were way under. It was actually worse. And then I got a book from Dr. Andreas Burger about 2030, and I started reading through that. There's 4 quadrants, and I realized that there's only 1 quadrant left over, and that's not going to work for the country, because that's going to hurt the country as well. Doesn't matter. It's not going to work, and we need to find another solution. South Africa doesn't have a large of small to medium enterprise sector, but what it does, there's a new book that came out. I found it about a week ago, and it's very much in line with what's happening in South Africa, is that there's an informal economy that's developing. Now, this economy has now gone to 180 billion rand is what that's 180 billion rand is about $18 billion, around that, $9 billion. That's around, the government's got no control over that. So these guys is moving outside of the government, and that sector is busy developing. Let me explain what happened. I went actually to see these people a few weeks ago. A simple way of doing things is that they make spinach. There's a lot of girls in a township. They took a piece of land and they started planting spinach, a huge amount of spinach. So they cut about 150 bushels of spinach per day. They could cut out of the spinach and then make it. Then one guy would come and he will pick it up, and he will then distribute it all over to people that's selling this. Now, if you have a look at 150 bushels for these 3 or 4 girls, they get about 10 rand a bushel. So they make 1,500 rand plus minus to about 3,000 a day. That's per day. All right. No tax, no nothing. And then it gets distributed, and the final person pay about 30 rand for the spinach. Spinach is quite a big thing in South Africa because your black population loves spinach, as do I. So that's an informal settlement. So it gives me great joy to know that it's happening. And that's vitally. All right. And the kind of South African law and regulations become also clear that there was a massive push to the government to destroy the private sector. I don't know why that is. It's a philosophy that the government has, a thinking that if you run a business, you are a criminal, basically, and you should not have. And they've got this whole thing backwards. I wish they would just go back in history, when the Spanish had the Armadas, and there was the richest country in the world, and the whole Spanish the country of Spain, they had a huge amount of gold, and they were really well off. And they joked with the English, and they said the English, they are mom and pop shops because everybody's got small little businesses. And 50 years later, Spain was in trouble, and England emerged as a dominant force in the world for 273 years, I think it was. And it started with looking after small and medium enterprises, because small and medium enterprises employ people. Small and medium enterprises bring in money to families. And I believe that looking at history, that's where the future of the country lies. The government believes in the core that business is evil and should not be allowed to prosper. Like I said, I do not understand why they think that. But I am extremely grateful for social media, because social media is opening avenues to these people and to a lot of people that realize, but wait a minute, the only way to solve the country's problem is through small and medium enterprise and through business. There's no other way of solving it, because business brings in taxes, business brings in employment. So that's why my focus is on the business in South Africa, how to develop business. A new study that I read that just came out is that we have a management situation in South Africa. We are part of the major brain drain in the world, and it is a problem, but it's not an unsolvable problem. It can be fixed, and that's why when I spoke to the doctors for my doctorate, that is my whole focus. I need to do the undoable, to find things to fix South Africa. I can't just run away and just say, leave it to somebody else. It doesn't work. I need to find solutions for this. We have problems, yes. Unemployment is around 50%. That's official. So unofficial, I don't know where it is. There's a lot of people that throw numbers around. I don't, it's not, the official unemployment is between 45 and 50%. Youth unemployment is 75%. That's just not sustainable. The true pass rate in South Africa is 22% for matric. Let me explain the 22%. When you start your first year in school, and then you take who writes the exam for matric, if you take that number, you send 22%. Because if you have a look, 1.3 million kids start grade 1. Why then only to 360,000 pass around there? So it gives you about 22%. So that's a major problem. And if you have a look at the 22%, about 6% of that passes maths and science. We have a problem. Thank God, Robert Kiyosaki said you don't have to be smart to run businesses. All right, so I'll take Robert Kiyosaki's word, and we normal people will just learn accounting, add, subtract, and we use Excel, and we'll make a plan to run our businesses. All right, the answer solve the problems as follow. I've created a typical system that a business can use from a startup phase, growing to small, medium, and if so desired, to a large corporation. It took me a while because the information is fragmented. Most guys will focus on management, or they will focus on operations, or they will focus on marketing. So as a small business owner, you have to have all these hats together. So I have to write a system that I can bring them together, and they can pick out of the things, and then they can start running their businesses. And then what they do is, as the business grows, they can add more of it together. But like I said, it is a huge amount of information that I had to bring together. And some days I felt like I was losing my mind. And then once you bring them together, and once they start forming a cohesive understanding, then you can start, and the business can start to grow. I can't use America, I can't use European ways of doing things, because it's not going to work in South Africa. Like number 4, there is fundamentals in it that will work, but a large part of it will not work because the laws in South Africa doesn't allow it. And then we have a criminal syndicate in the country that are seriously in charge of a lot of industries, and you can't just get into that. A stupid example is, there is no way that any person can really get into the taxis. You will be shot. It's a closed system. Nobody gets in. they are in absolute control. So you need to find other places that you can develop businesses and develop people outside of that. And it's not so important. The taxi industry, like I said, it's massive anyway, and there's way too much competition and you can't compete because the whole system is operated in such a way that they bypass taxes, they bypass fuel, you're not going to compete with them. So it's just one of the areas that you can't get involved. But thank God there is a huge amount of other places that we can then exploit and get into and develop people into. So that is the whole the foundation of the system. So I created a system. It's a 19-point duplicatable system. It starts with an index, which is 0. Then plan, view your mission, value, and mission statements, and goes all the way off your strategic development, and so it goes down. Strategic human resource management is lower on the list because, quite frankly, when you start out as a small business, you don't need that. It only comes into play later when your business starts growing. So every section, the subsection, under strategic management, there's different ways of strategy that you can use. I'll show you in the next slide what has happened. And yeah, some of it backfired on me in ways that I didn't expect. But like I said, it's again, you look at it and you stand back and forth. Okay, well, fine. So let's readjust it. But what I realized and I had to create a system that I can train the people and just coach them. I find it extremely difficult. An example is ISO 9000, which is a quality system. My system is very much in line with the ISO 9000 quality, and I bring all my studies in from what I studied from my MBA to my doctorate into the 9000 system, and from there then I create the whole thing. But what I've learned, you have to train people. You can't just drop them in and just go and do it. It doesn't work. So training, coaching, and be available for them so they can ask questions. If I can't do that, then all this is pointless because I need, like I said before, management is a problem. So they don't understand. The school system hasn't trained them in that. You can go and read Robin Kiyosaki. He's moaning, complaining, and making waves about it every single time he opens his mouth. But the whole idea is to help people, to grow them, to coach them, and make mistakes. So what? Get them up and let them fix it up again. As long as they're willing, as long as they want to learn, as long as they want to make money, that's what the system is about. I realize that most needs is to use video and not so much paperwork. Again, like I said, a 22% pass rate in school is a problem, but this is I learned that people, if I use videos and train them, and then from there on make sure they understand and coach them, and then go to the paper, it makes it easier for them to understand. And that is vital. That has become a very important part of what I do. And I actually start learning that the pictures work, flow charts. You do this, then you do that, and you do. Let them the process. This is the process. This is what you have to walk through. And I start developing that as well. And that's why I said sometimes I think I lost my head a few times, getting all this together and help the people. But yeah, mentorship will have to be part of the process to help new business owners to grow in the business. And again, if it wasn't for this doctorate program, that would not have happened. Let me make this abundantly clear. One of the most vital, most important things that I've learned from my doctorate is research. You need to learn how to do research. If you can't do research, it's not going to work. Let me explain that in a real life scenario. I was doing research on a subject and I got distracted. Yes, I know it's wrong, but I did really get distracted. And I landed off if what is happening in Europe. And I started putting more time and then started learning more than that. And I realized, but there's a problem. This is going to affect South Africa extremely negatively. And I said, no, wait, there's advantages in this. Opportunity. So I went to see one of the clients that I dealt with before. I told you they fired me before. went to see him. I said to him, look, your business is standing on the edge of making huge money. This is what's going to happen in Europe. This is what the whole thing is moving towards. And we're going to have a problem in South Africa with getting bearings in. That problem actually got worse in October, November, and December, because our docks came to an absolute standstill, basically, so bearings couldn't come in. And his business went the highest it's done in its entire history within 3 months after I joined the company. It's not that I made it, I just opened up the people's mind, and then the people on the floor realized there's work coming in, and go and see the people. So that is one of the things that happened. That is what research does. And I used the research to give it to the people in the various industries. Says, we can help you. This is the research. This is what I found out, and we can help you prevent you from having stoppages in your company when your bearings back up, and a lot of things. And that has opened doors for us. And again, it goes back to this program, this doctorate program, learning research and putting things together. That has made a massive impact on me, and that is why I love this program so much. I'm not punting it. I'm just saying, for me as a person, that's the advantage I get out of it. All right. So when I started this system, I realized that the first thing I need to test it, and that is not going to be so easy. I've got a few obstacles. I had to take the system to small and medium enterprises, like I said, went to Visa as one of them, that were in distress, and sellers to Visa was in distress. They dropped from almost 100 workers to, I think there were 12 left over, and the turnover was gone. I think they were down at 15% of their turnover. It was a little bit of a chaos, and they have lost some very, very good people. So I could sell this to them, but if you have a look at the next point, I didn't take a salary. But what I did say to them is, look, I'll do it for you in 3 or 4 months. If there's a time, then we work out a compensation from there on. And if people don't have to pay and they know you're busy with your doctorate, they sort of say yes. I haven't had one no. So I had one maybe so far, but the rest was basically all yes. This means I put massive strain again on my finances. So what I do is I had to work in these companies, and then when I finish there, I have to go and work in my other companies as well in order to keep on generating an income. I did this by splitting my business up. Andreas Burger Consulting became just to do with business development, and then Check for SME deals with safety, health, and environmental. This put a strain on my studies, my family life, as my hours went back to 18 hours a day, and then traveling became a serious issue. So yeah, a few months has been wild on the on the financial side. I had mixed results, failures. I'll explain the failures now, because I did not expect that. They caused me to make a change again, and I'll explain. The system was in a beta phase, so I was trying it out. It was see what works, what doesn't work. As I said, as I helped the small business to start growing, we started breaking records in the companies that I work for, and that backfired. That seriously backfired on me. I explain now. As a business grows, you must reinvest the cash in a business for every phase. Because what happens? I really messed up here. When your company run every time. What I did is one of the companies make every contract with you got a little bit bigger than the contract before it. So we take the money we make, let's say 20, 50, 100,000, and we put it back into the business so we can buy equipment to do the next project, which is bigger, and we take that profit and we're reinvesting the money so we can grow this. And the next moment I said to him, look, we've got a big project, you need it. He says, no, but I spent the money. I said, what do you mean you spent the money? I bought myself a new boat. I did not respond well to that. I apologize. I lost it a little bit, because that put extreme pressure on the next project, and we actually they actually lost that project because we couldn't get. It was just that guys. I got them into a project they started today in another in the northern South Africa. But yeah, that backfired. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. To be very, very honest about you, that is a slip in my how can I put it? In my coaching. Let's put it that way, because I didn't foresee that owners will do this. It was really like a spanner in a gearbox. It just, we lost, I think, for December about 1.2 million rand of contracts because he took that money to buy, almost swear it again, a boat, instead of taking that money and buy the equipment so that we can do the next project. It destroyed the work I put in, and I landed in a situation that I did not anticipate. I'll be very honest with you. It put me back a little bit. That was that. Like I said, it happens. Note that I do this work without compensation, so I needed the numbers. The reason why I did it is I needed to get information and get things in for my doctorate so that I can put them down. So otherwise, I have to pay, and I don't. It's just the only way I saw fit to do this. I need to find a way to duplicate system and see what works. Frustration is never far away. Like I said, I'll give you. There's a few cases. I'll explain to you what happened a few times. And I realized that the way that people think can create problems. One of the cases is this company. They're an engineering company, not a big engineering company, but they grew. So I said to guys, look, we need to spend time in occupation health and safety because we've now grown. You've got new contracts. We're growing. I need to take some of the money in health and safety so we can get contracts from Eskom or we get contracts from Mittal because they're knocking on our doors that we can. I've got now a foot into Mittal and these camps, so I can bring them in and you can manufacturing. And the whole thing was set out how we're going to do it. It took me time to set this up. And I go the next morning, a week later, to start getting. And they said, no, they've changed their minds. I said, what do you mean you changed their minds? No, they want to sell the company now. And they want to go plant trees in New Zealand. I don't know how to respond to that. I have no. It just frustrates and stupid. I have no answers for that. I just walked out, got in my car, and drove and go and have a cup of coffee and just frustration and just shake my head. At another company, what I did, I helped them to get up with a very big company, which I make friends with through research. Because again, what I've done is I would go to very successful people and say, look, I'm busy with my doctorate. I need information. How did you take a company that did 400,000 rand 4 years ago? Now this year you're going to turn $1 billion. How did you do that? How did you grow the company? And I went to see quite a bit of people. Some of the answers I'm not allowed to. I don't think I'm allowed to give in my dissertation because one guy told me straight, I bribe people. So I will not put that in. But the rest, they gave me some information and good information. And this is one of the guys that I had information with. So I lined them up. They're in different industries, but the two industries line up very well together. And together they can do very good work in Africa, and I help them that they're going to expand about 6 countries in Africa. And then I go back there for 2 hours. This owner tried to explain to me why. It's like a week later, why you want to pull out this deal. And he pulled out all kinds of things that's non-relevant. It's got nothing to do with the business. So after about 2 hours, I lost my cool and told him exactly what he has to do, and he's busy wasting time and he's busy wasting my time. And he better fix it up, and he's got no choice. You must sign a contract and you must get it done today. He signed the contracts. I don't think he's very happy with me. In one case, the owner keep going back to his default mode. So what we've done is this guy's a micromanage a business. Every single, I said to him, you can't do that because you need to give people the ability, train them, educate them, give them a forum to do things. He says, make mistakes. Then they make mistakes. We fix the mistakes. They're not going to learn any other way. And if they can take hold of the mistakes and they can take responsibility for the mistakes, then you have the right person on the floor. You have the right person in the field, because that oak will fix the mistakes. It takes responsibility. This is the man you want in your business. It's a plan, organize, lead, control. That is how you planify, you organize it, you lead the people, and you just control. You don't micromanage. And it keeps on going back to micromanagement, and it's frustrating. Something goes wrong, and he goes to let me explain what he does, and you understand the frustration in this. So there's a lot of problems we had to fix up, and then instead of facing the problem and fixing the problem, he would go to the social media girl, and he will demand some stuff to her. And I said to him, what do you want to do with it? We can't take the money and do that anyway, so why on earth would you worry about that? She has other responsibilities that I gave her in order to market the business. That is rubbish. It's bringing no turnover, and you keep on going back to this default mode of micromanaging. You keep on, and accounting, focus on how to solve this problem, not on this micromanaging. So I have to keep on, and that's a problem. You have to keep, I think it's a control thing, that they don't want to lose control. And the case with the other companies was that they don't want to, they've got control of this smaller thing, and they don't want to lose more control. You have to give control over to your people so that they can develop, so they can do the work. You can't be everywhere. And you have to develop and trust your people and develop your management out of that. Strategic human resource management means that you take a person, you see potential in, you build him up, and you give him a responsibility. Is he going to mess up? Yes, but it's your responsibility while you control to fix it up, help him up, and go through the problem. We had in one of the other companies, in this company, that this guy, the social media girl made a mistake. But if she didn't make the mistake, I would have picked up that there's a problem, and I could go and fix the problem. Yes, I had to deal with 2 or 3 customers, and by dealing with those customers, honestly, straightforward, I actually got business from them, and I had to go and see them. And when I went to see them, I actually got to see the entire board, sit in front of the entire board and explain what we can do for them. So yes, mistakes will happen, but if you work these mistakes right, and you're honest with the clients, and you want to help the clients, then there's this work. And this girl's work is increased massively. Now I keep on the owner keep on pushing the owner away from her and say, leave her. Sharon can do the work. She will do the work right. She knows what she's doing. Give her the opportunity to grow. I said with a restaurant owner, and he's a very good concept of his business. And I said to him, look, we can take this further. This is what we can do. And again, I think it's fear. He just struggles to understand that, listen, there's opportunity here, my man. You can grow this. This is how it's going to grow. But again, we take it, we don't overgrow. We slowly, time. And this is the system. And it's frustration when you see that, and the guy, he struggles a little bit with it. In frustration, new plan was birthed. I admit that it was in beginning December on the road. I was driving, and I decided I need to find another way of doing this. An idea was taking the existing laws and turn them into good. There's some BE affirmative action and some laws that I looked at, and I said, it comes back to research, because you have to research things. And I thank God for this doctorate, because again, it opens doors for me, and I start understanding things. And I went to see a gentleman. I gave him the broad overview, and I've got a meeting now. He's just went to Germany. He's coming back this year, and we will have a chat. I think we've got a meeting the 17th. Having a chat with him. And I'm still busy writing this. I've got very little time to finish this up. Just the idea of using, he has to pay, I think, 2 or 3 million a year on social responsibility things. And he just to get his BE status, said to him, if we take that money and we do this with it, in other words, it's not wasted. It's actually focused on developing the people on the floor and developing businesses. I said, no, if you give him a loan, they have to pay back loan. It's not a gift. And that money goes back to you. And then you can reinvest it in the next company, that the small company that we do. And we will make companies that's not in competition with you. Not that anybody can be in competition with him anyway. But that is the whole idea. And he was open to this. So that is what was birthed. I will see him this month, and I'll and I'll see if I can get that off the ground, because that's going to be better. I will use this to build new companies, use South African law to do this and to make money, take money from corrupt and into the mainstream people. Right now, this money is given to certain organizations that does nothing for the country. So I'm going to redirect this for the country. That 75% unemployment, I'm going to tackle that for the youth, because the youth knows what's happening. The youth is not stupid. They've got access to social media. And that's the guys I'm going to tackle. And that's the guys I'm going to help. And that's the guys I'm going to show that there's a way of making money. Yes, you have to work. Yes, you have to dedicate it, but there's a system. And I will get the money from large corporations. Like I said, instead of doing nothing, we're going to deal with it, because earlier I told you about pastel, and one of the things is the social problems in the country. And I can prove to them that will deal with the social problems in the country, taking the impossible. And I'm going to make that possible. It's going to happen. I don't know yet how, but I'm dealing with it. I'm going to deal with that. I just have to wait till February, because apparently I've got 20th of February. I'm in trouble with this. I have to hand stuff into my doctorate. And yeah. Okay. Well, I'll get some sleep next week. All right. As part now, it's, like I said, I'm busy writing this. It's not finished yet. I just throw a broad stroke to him. But I have defined it. It's on my whiteboard. I brought it down. And I think in March that will start coming up, because the guy's new budget for corporate social responsibility comes in March. And corporate social responsibility is one of the areas, sustainability corporate, of the areas that I have also in this business development. All right, failures are happy the way, but breakthrough comes in the morning. So what is failure? So what if failures are happy the way? This means a change in direction or change in approach to the problem. Best of all, this is the lesson. Like I said, I fell on my face a few times dealing with this and trying to help companies. Yes, I have success stories, but it's the failures that really claps you like a good solid in the face and put you on your backside, and you sit in the mud and you think, what just happened? But yeah, failure is frustrating. Failure and frustration is friends. They can help you to develop a better system of operations or other way of doing things. That is what happened to me. Like I said, when that guy, I must be very honest, when they said they don't want a bigger contract, but go and plant trees, and that was very frustrating. If the owner of the business is not willing to change or go back to a default mode, it's time to move on and ask us simple questions. And this also comes out of frustration. Can I improve what this business has done, and can I create a position company? The answer is becoming a resounding about 95% of the time, yes. And then what's a real asset in the company? Is it equipment or the people? And to my shock, I have to be honest here. I would have, if you asked me this 4 years ago, before I did my MBA, I would have said equipment. I now categorically tell you that I was wrong. It's people. People sit with the information. People sit with the skills. It's the people. There's one company, Bisa. If I take the 12 people out of the company and I can start a new company with better equipment, the company's closed down, because you can't replace what those guys are doing. Let me explain something here. Why I think these guys are amazing. They refurbish bearings. So now the bearing turns around and they're busy polishing it and grinding it with sandpaper. And I said to him, explain to me what you're doing. He says, no, there's a small mark there. Can't you see? So I put my glasses on. I had to take my phone. I take a photo and I say, oh, there it is. He says, you can feel it. So I go, what do you feel? He says, no, feel. I feel nothing. These guys are magnificent. These guys are brilliant. And he's not looking after these people. And I think to myself, my man, you don't understand. You are a heartbeat away of losing a company if those guys leave. And then what will it cost me to create a new company? Because, like I said, I'm getting frustrated because the guy seems to not understand that there is opportunities. Yes, there's a little bit of sacrifice for 2 or 3 years, but you need to start looking after your people and start looking after your company, not after yourself. So out of frustration, this has been born. This question came out of Dr. Porter from Harvard Business School in the book 5 Forces That Influence Businesses, or that is influence on businesses. One of the barriers that he describes is the entry into market. If I want to take on Mittel, it's going to cost me way too much to get involved in. So it's not even in the cards. But if the barrier is low, like in this case of some of the companies, the barrier to get into business is low. It's a barrier of taking their people. It is extremely low, and it's a barrier of giving them the same product, might go and see the customers and give customer service. Then you're in trouble. If the market is small and only a few runs in a sandbox, if you make a mistake, you can keep standing in the sandbox, but if you continue messing with your clients, you're going to lose the sandbox. Somebody else will come in and take your business. And this is the frustrating part for me, to look at this guy and understand that within a week, maybe two, his business can be overtaken, take another equation, and he sits with nothing, and he doesn't understand this. He's running his business on a shoestring because he chooses to put it on a shoestring. And that's frustrating to me. And like I said, I apologize sincerely. 5 years ago, it was equipment. Now, when I did my MBA through them, one of it was strategic human resource management. I look at them, I thought, I'm going to fail this thing. I hate human resource management. And that has taught me that humans are the answer in business. You just have to deploy them correctly. And then I learned about strategic human resource management also through them. So yeah, it's like I said, for me, it's done amazing things. Why do this? Social and communism can only be destroyed by business. If we run businesses, we can stop this. Business brings the country into prosperity. When a country hates business, especially SME, it shows hate towards freedom and prosperity. Businesses bring freedom and and prosperity to a country. You can do nothing to me to. I'm sorry, but that's the only way. Unemployment can only be stopped by business. When I did my NEBUSH for health and safety, they had a study. One of the studies is if you have a work that you're healthier and you are more happier and it brings dignity to you. I believe unions is the left hand of the government and keep business under threat. I'm sorry, in my understanding, but you can only serve one master. You can't serve two. You all serve the person that gives you the job, or you serve the union that takes money from you and wants to use you to climb a ladder. And there's one of the things that I also start training and explaining to people that work. The owner of the business is your source of income. You have to look after them. All right? Doing the undoable, breaking the mold. Somebody must do this. And I figure, what the hell can this all be me? I can only get into trouble. I've been in trouble so much that makes no difference. Just add to my life story. My time studying at UCAM has taught me how to research, and for that I'm grateful. If it wasn't for them, you know what you read all these books. If you have a look back around, you've got this from Great to Pet and all these other books. They're just normal books. Yes, they're all great. But it is the books that's written by professors that's done some study and is taking those books, working through those books, and then finding out those books, what work, what not work, because it is much more focused with much more explanation in it. Yes, normal books, top seller, New York is all good and well, and they do help, but they are not the same as research something. There's a vast difference between the two. I don't do this to gain educational merits. I'm never going to be a professor. I'm never going to go into universities. My temperament will get me fired very quickly. It's not going to work. I do this for one reason to help companies and help businesses. That's why I do this. There's a massive amount of data and education papers. It's vast. Why add? Why not use what's written, apply to see what's work and what is garbage? I think I've got 4 books by the same writer about human resource management. What do I want to add to human resource management? What? I'd rather take what the guy's given, see what works, see what I can apply, and with this garbage I throw out and say, no, this doesn't work. Why must I add to this? I'm sorry, but to me, I look at all these books and I think to myself, There's enough information there. I'm pretty sure it'll keep me busy for 2 lifetimes. I want to add to it. No, I'll just take what it is and just build on it. Most European Union, UK, and USA management system of the works in Africa, I said that before. They need to be adjusted as the laws and our culture plays a role, but there's fundamentals in them that I can use. I just have to adjust it. There's very little books written about South Africa. I can fill a half of my one rack books written about South Africa business. But if I want to read books about America, I can fill my entire study up. So yeah, that's why I need to focus on South Africa. Doing the undoable, creating new wealth and freedom can only be created by business. It's the only way to destroy poor poverty. It's the only way to keep people busy and give dignity back to them. There's no other way. I can't see any other way. I understand that to start is hard. I've had to go through that, and I'm still in that. I've taken the system that I've written and actually applied into Andreas Burger Consulting into Set for SME, and actually busy using them on my whiteboard and written it. Actually, I put it in a flip chart now so that I can implement it and see where I can do and even start another business under Andreas Burger Consulting to implement this and see how to start new businesses again so that I can get other people to do the same. Because I need to find businesses that is easy to operate, little cash to start, but possible to make a success. And that's the focus. And then from there on, reinvent the cash and then build bigger businesses. And coaching must be part of the solution. You can't just leave people. This is why, if you read the stats, 85% of people, a business fail. Yes, they fail because nobody teaches, nobody makes them understand. Listen, you need to do this. And part of the system is I'll bring my coaching in. If I have to do it for free, I'll make plan. I'll make money another way anyway. But help the guys to make a success of their businesses. You can't just drop people in the deep side and say, go and swim. And then when Dran says, you're dumb big thing, why are you stupid? Can't you swim? No, mate, you need to teach the person. Educating people that run businesses must be utilized. And again, with this program, it has made it possible for me to research and possible for me to say to guys, listen, I can help you. This is how you have to do it. And I know this is vain, and I apologize before I say that. I told you I'm vain. I would like to be the hero of my kids. But when I explained to them I was my doctorate and explained to them who I'm working with, it opens doors. And I explained to them I got my MBA through them as well. The amount of doors and the sudden of doors it opens, and it's not small doors. I mean, big doors. The guys are right on top. And I find that these successful guys, they actually start to understand. They actually want to help to build the country, and it's become. And that's why I'm grateful for this program. There's a few things we overcome. Yes, I know this obsession with race has to stop. I've once read that change is constant. But I want to change that and tell that's a lie. I can change the color of my hair. Maybe I should say I'm as gray as can be. But the only thing that I figure that I can't change the color of my skin. So why get obsessed with this rubbish? I don't understand this. I don't understand why they want to go back to this. We destroyed this in 1989 to 1994. And now it's not to the advantage of the people. Like I said, the only thing that we can't change is the color of our skins. The rest, we can change. If I can't write, say, give me a year and I learn how to write. It's a skill that I can develop. If I can't speak French, give me a year. No. I've heard French and I've tried that before. No, make that 3 years. Because French seems difficult. Give me 3 years and I can change that. You can change most of the stuff that you do. Why criticize and limit people by the color of the skin? It makes, how on earth must I, Michael Jackson for all his money couldn't get it right. How the heck would I get it right? So yeah, this is the only thing that I believe that through this I can do and get this right by getting involved and getting a lot of business people involved in doing this. We can do this. I don't say it's going to be easy, and I don't say I'm not going to hit a few times, and I don't say I'm not going to get into trouble. But like I said, I've been in trouble so many times in my life. Another one's not going to make a difference. So yeah, that's basically my story. Like I said, I don't punt the university that I work through, but I have to be grateful. I have to be thankful, and I have to say thank you. Like I said, I've been in trouble with them a few times. And every time they actually sort of come to the table and they worked with me, and for that I'm extremely grateful. At least if Dr. She see this, she can understand why I had to make that one deal with her. She understand that I had to go work for free for a few days, a few months actually. So yeah, but like I said, we always make a plan. So Dr. Shi, now thank you for that. That's the end of it. Now, how do I kill the screen so you can see people that's much more beautiful than me?
You can stop sharing your screen. That would work.
Right, so how do I figure that? Hold on. Let me figure this out first. And display, now that's the display. Let's close that. Stop sharing. Where do I do?
I have done that for you, Andreas. You can look back at the screen and
Cool. Thank
answer the
you.
question. So thank you so much for that in-depth presentation and to share your experience, your mammoth experience, and what kind of a fighter you have been through the thick and thin. And I do believe the participants are pouring in with responses and the questions are pouring in as well. The first question that, yes, please go ahead.
I don't have all the answers. I'm like everybody else. I'm learning and falling on my face, my backside, and I'm going. Oh.
So, the first question, I would like to take this opportunity to ask this question myself because I apparently happened to have this conversation with one of my friends yesterday, and she has been contemplating of whether to leave the comforty cushion of her job or to jump into a business idea that she's already been having, that she's been wanting to explore. And the only thing that I could suggest her was to watch Batman 3, wherein we get an anecdote where it says that it's only when you let go of the safety nets you can come out of the well to make that one final jump. So, to become an entrepreneur, you will have to come out of that shell, you will have to come out of that safety zone, comfort zone, and you will have to let yourself burn, and it's only then you can shine. That's what I would like to add on. And my question to you is how does one identify that whether or not the idea that one has for a business is a viable one or not?
You have to do some research, and there's no guarantee. I'm sorry, there is just no guarantee. You take it on. I can tell you now, you're going to hit the ground a few times. I can tell you now, you have to learn it at a steep curve. It's not educational. You have to take your educational, make it practical, and that's a vast difference. That's why I say all those books written, you have to take that and implement it. If I may make a suggestion, I don't know where she is right now. What she can do is start it sort of part-time. That takes her from working 8 hours to working 16 hours a day. So she will cut down the sleep. One of the best things to do is to work it early in the morning when people don't bug you. I find that between 4 and 6, a lot of people don't bug you. You get up at 4 o'clock, have a cup of coffee. If you struggle to get awake, then take a shower. A cold one will definitely wake you up. Then have your cup of coffee, and then work with that. But the first thing I will starting that part time is vital. There's no way about it. If she can, if she can't, then it's different. But she need to write down why she wants to do it. Who is the customers and who is not a customers? Your customers and who is not your customers is just as important, because there's clients that that's not going to fall within your sphere. You don't serve the whole market. You serve a portion. And is that portion big enough? And what value can you add? So your mission, vision, and value. What value? You need to determine what value can you add to that client. If you can put a value to them, and you have a why, you have a much better chance to succeed. And then if she can get somebody just to help them, to mentor her here and there, And then she needs to understand that the curve of the curve is big. It's a big learning curve. And if she makes a mistake, so what? Fix it. This whole thing of you've made a mistake, you're bad. The hell with that idea. You're gonna make mistakes. So what? The thing with mistakes is fix it, learn it, write it down, says, right, I messed that up. Now, what am I going to do about that? Wait, I messed that up, so I'm going to fix it. Okay, so I must remember that, so I don't do that again. So the second time you go around, you don't do it again. That's why there's mistakes. It's a learning platform. So if she can do it part-time, all right, and once it does replace double her income or triple her income, resign. And then take the money or resign, and then if they pay, take the money, don't put it in the business, put it aside, because you're going to have months maybe you don't have, and you have to live off that money. And then start your business, but start your mission, why you want to do it, and what is the value you're going to add to your customers, who is your customers, and who's not your customers. That's the best advice I can give her. I hope that helps.
A very well point made. And I do believe that experiential learning is one of the best form of learnings that one can have. And looking around the same kind of questions, Andreas, we have multiple questions on understanding what kind of business opportunities should be taken up by individuals who are aspiring to become an entrepreneur, specifically in underdeveloped countries or in areas which does not have a lot of resources, or in remote areas as such. So what would be your suggestion to them?
Can I tell a story?
Obviously you can.
I've read this. This guy went to, and this is for us in Africa. And it falls into, earlier I spoke about that the market that is not controlled by the government.